Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas. Dave will be along in just a little while. Till then, why don't you just grab yourself some milk and some cookies like I will, and get ready to enjoy. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas. Hello, hello, everyone. Merry Christmas, y'all. Hope y'all have had a great Christmas day. Hope you got everything you wanted for Christmas this year. Kind of nice seeing Santa. He stopped by on his way. He told me, he said he had to, he had to jet out pretty quick because he was almost late for his flight to yeah, he's heading down to Acapulco for a little vacation, a little R&R, and he wanted to get down there before Carlos and Charlie's closes. So yeah, he just only had time to stop in and say hi on his way through. And me and Santa are pretty good friends, known each other for a while. So yeah, kind of nice he decided to stop by, and he allowed me to film him for just a few seconds. So he'll be thinking about y'all while he's down there chilling out on the beach with Mrs. Claus and having a cold one. He deserves it. He did a lot of work in the past 24 hours, so yeah, he gets to take a little break. Like Hank. See, Hank is taking a little break here. Hank is going to have to move. Alright, so hop down there, Hank. There we go. Alright, well, you see, I'm working on my Mermaid Cavern painting that I just unboxed. It's kind of funny. I'm recording this 24 hours after I received it, and I'm unboxing it, and it's actually, today is the 22nd, so I was a last minute recorder or filmer. Normally I film way earlier and upload it. Like last year I did like a month earlier. I would have been 20 days earlier if it hadn't been for UPS messing up my order. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind right now, but we're getting it done. I said I would do a video for this year's premiere, and I meant it. And I knew I was going to turn it in. So I haven't started on it yet. It's still sitting here exactly the way it was after I finished kitting it up last night. As soon as I recorded the video for Hank. Yeah, I recorded the video for Hank. As soon as I recorded the unboxing video, I meant to start kitting it up then. And I kind of just passed out sitting here in my chair until like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And I recorded this right after I got home. I recorded my unboxing right after I got home from work at like 5 o'clock. So I ended up sleeping like 4 hours and woke up about 9:30 and started kitting it up. And I was literally up all night getting it kitted up so that I would be able to film this tonight. So I'm a little bit on the tired side because I've been to work all day after staying up all night. And yeah. So if I'm not making any sense, just let me know. I've got to pull something up here because while we are working, I have decided that I'm going to share a little bit of maybe lesser known facts about Christmas. Where it came from, how it became what it did today. Just all kinds of. I was really, really blown away when I learned about some of the origins of Christmas and where it came from. Let me try to find the site here. Here's a site with the ancient roots of Christmas traditions. And Christmas actually started during the Roman Empire. During the height of the Roman Empire, they had the annual winter celebration, was known as Saturnalia. It was the They started celebrating it around 300 BC, and it was a week-long celebration that honored the harvest god of Saturn. And he's basically the equivalent to the Greek god Titan. And celebrations began on or around December 17th and ended on the 23rd. And throughout that week, citizens and slaves were allowed to freely participate in the festivities as equals. So it was a very popular holiday even back then. And it was always so anticipated throughout the years that the city of Rome would begin preparations a week ahead of time. And they hired citizens that would clean the streets and set up decorations and build temporary little structures and things. And they didn't do any business during the week. And the citizens needed to make sure they had everything they needed. So you couldn't go to the government for anything during that time because they were busy getting everything ready. And they would start their celebrations early in the morning on the 17th, and people in Rome dressed in bright colors, and they flocked into the forum and lined up along the streets in hopes of catching a glimpse of the large procession of sacrificial bulls making their way towards the temple of Saturn. I wonder if that has anything to do with like the running of the bulls in Spain. I don't know. Good question. And once he had received that sacrificial gift, the festivities officially began. So, once they slaughtered the first bull on the altar, that's when everybody started partying. I'm telling you, it was brutal back then. And even during that time, the slaves were treated as citizens, and the master of the household could serve his own slaves. And during that week, the slaves were free from punishment and free to do as they pleased. And they could even belittle and insult their masters within reason. Basically, they were like you and me, It's kind of cool. Lower class citizens would be crowned a king of Saturnalia. And while they ruled, citizens had to obey them. And the catch was that the only edicts the king was allowed to make were frivolous and without lasting implications, and they were symbolically dethroned at the end of the festival. So, I mean, they weren't able to make law that would last on and on and on. They were just allowed to make, declarations that everybody must partake in this amount of wine or something, It's kind of funny. And it was just a big non-stop party, and music was always playing. People ate, drank, danced themselves silly. And performers of all kinds entertained at the forum, while others set up gambling tables around the city. It was also common for personal gifts to be given to family members, while close friends received a special wax candle. And those candles signaled the advent of a golden age coming for the new year. And some people say that actually is where the Christian lighting Advent candles came from. Because today's celebration of Christmas, and I can tell you this, is actually a conglomeration of all of these things down throughout the centuries. It pulled a little bit from the old Romans, and it pulled a little bit from the Celtic and the Norse and all of that, where the Christmas tree and everything else is where a lot of this stuff came from. It's really interesting background about Christmas, and knowing that even at one point in time in the U.S., celebrating Christmas was outlawed during the colonial times. I never would have known that. The Christmas was canceled during that time. Of course, we all say that it celebrates the day that Jesus was born, and we all know that Jesus was not born on December 25th of year 0 or year 1. But it's more of a symbolic way of celebrating that he was born, and he if that's what you believe. But that's what the Christians use Christmas to celebrate. And Christmas celebrates more than just his birth. It celebrates the spirit of humanity to do good for one another, for that spirit that Jesus had of, giving to his fellow man instead of just taking. And it kind of celebrates that and symbolizes that. But it started because the church chose that date in order to adopt and absorb the traditions of the pagan Saturnalia festival in Rome. And they first called it the Feast of the Nativity, and it spread to Egypt by 432 and then to England by the end of the 6th century. So it wasn't until 600 AD that England even started celebrating Christmas. But it was started by the Christians, the early Christians in the the years following after Christ, maybe the 1st or 2nd century afterwards, during the time that the Romans were still in power before the Roman Empire fell. And they felt that if they held it at the same time as traditional winter solstice festivals, church leaders increased the chances that Christmas would be popularly embraced, according to what it says here. I'm using several different websites to pull this from. Excuse me, Hank. I've got to got my no, Hank, please move, buddy. I'm not. Oh. And then in the early 17th century, a wave of religious reform changed the way that Christmas was celebrated in Europe. And when Oliver Cromwell and his Puritan forces took over England in 1645, and they vowed to get rid of, of decadence. And as a part of their effort, they canceled Christmas. Because then Christmas was a big party. Even in the Christian world, Christmas was like a big party. It was a lot of drinking and a lot of celebrating going on. And the Puritans, who are the ones that eventually came over to the United States, or came over to the New World to form the first colonies, they did not like that. They were Puritans. They believed in living a life of purity and righteousness. And shortly after that, in Charles II was restored to the throne because the people did not like the fact that the Puritans came along and just took away their reason to party, and they put Charles II back on the throne, and with him the party came back again. And the Pilgrims, they were just English separatists that came to America in 1620. They were even more orthodox in their Puritan beliefs than Cromwell was. So Christmas was not a holiday in early America. From 1659 to 1681, the celebration of Christmas was actually outlawed in Boston, and anyone caught exhibiting the Christmas spirit was fined 5 shillings. And by contrast, in the Jamestown settlement, Captain John Smith reported that Christmas was enjoyed by all and passed without incident. So it was kind of more of a regional thing then, was whether you celebrated Christmas or not over here in the New World. And then it wasn't until after the American Revolution that English customs fell out of favor, including Christmas again. And in fact, Christmas wasn't even declared a federal holiday until June 26th of 1870. So the Civil War, it was not until after the Civil War was over. So they didn't even celebrate Christmas then. And then it was in the 19th century and the release of Washington Irving wrote a book called The Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon, which is a series of stories about the celebration of Christmas in an English manor house. And these sketches featured a squire who invited the peasants into his home for the holiday. And in contrast to the problems faced in American society, the two groups mingled effortlessly. And in Washington Irving's mind, that Christmas should be a peaceful, warm-hearted holiday, bringing groups together across lines of wealth or even social status. So, the poor people mingled with the rich people. Because back in that time, you know how it was. Just like in the movie Titanic, Jack was a third-class citizen because he didn't have money like the rest of them did. So he had to pose that he, that he did have money when he really didn't. And that's kind of the way things were. And Christmas was a time that everybody came together and enjoyed that time. So around that time, English author Charles Dickens also created the classic holiday tale, A Christmas Carol. The story's message was the importance of charity and goodwill towards all humankind, and it struck a powerful chord in the United States and England, and it showed members of the Victorian era the benefits of celebrating the holiday. And the family was also becoming less disciplined and more sensitive to the emotional needs of children during the early 1800s. So Christmas provided families with a day when they could lavish attention and gifts on their children without appearing to spoil them. Because, people were... You know what? It sounds like we've come full history with parenting. It really does. Because I remember growing up was, you didn't want to spoil the child, You were more disciplined, more rigid discipline, and you didn't want to spoil the child. And now we've gotten very sensitive to the needs and wants of youngsters again, to where we give them everything they want. But you don't want people to appear that you spoil them. So Christmas becomes the time that you really go big and get them big things. And as Americans began to embrace Christmas as a perfect family holiday, old customs were unearthed again. People looked towards recent immigrants and Catholic and Episcopalian churches to see how the day should be celebrated. And in the next 100 years after that, Americans built a Christmas tradition all their own that included pieces of many other customs. As I said earlier, there's a little bit of all the other old customs. The Yule log, bringing in the tree into the house, Santa Claus, who was known by many different names throughout the ages and in different places. It seems like almost every civilization, or not civilization, but every group or every nationality had their version of a Santa Claus that brought gifts or brought food. Sometimes it was just goodwill charity things that he brought. It wasn't gifts of things they wanted, but instead it was things they needed. So yeah, I'm sticking to it. Oh, where's my little... I got another one of these. Where did it go? The cat knocked it off, I think. And so, where did Santa come from? Well, nobody really knows 100% sure where he came from and where the legend that we know of him as comes from. But we think we can trace it back to around in Turkey. In around 8280, a gentleman was born named Saint Nicholas. He was a monk, and he gave away all of his wealth and traveled the countryside helping poor and sick, and became known as the protector of children and sailors. I don't understand the sailors part. If he went around, maybe it's because he had to use ships to get around, and so, he had a soft spot for the sailors, I guess. That's my guess. Well, there it was. It was hiding. Okay. And he first entered the American popular culture in the late 18th century in New York when Dutch families gathered to honor the anniversary of the death of Sint Nicolaas, or Dutch for St. Nicholas, or Sinterklaas for short. Santa Claus draws his name from that abbreviation. And in 1822, an Episcopal minister, his name was Clement Clark Moore, he wrote a Christmas poem. You all heard of it. In fact, it's what this painting is named after. Twas the Night Before. It was called An Account of a Visit from St. Nicholas, more popularly known as its first line, Twas the Night Before Christmas. And the poem depicted Santa as what we know him of now, the jolly man in the red suit with the big white beard and the pipe, and we don't even view Santa as pipe anymore. You notice that? Santa used to always have a pipe. From that little story, Santa had a pipe. He no longer has a pipe, and that's because society has kind of canceled the pipe because we've discovered that smoking isn't as good for you anymore. Back then, a pipe was just a common, ordinary thing that people just had. But that's how we got to be the Santa that we know of today. And then there was a series of political cartoonist, Thomas Nast.
Want the power of 5 serum benefits in one?
Oh, automatically playing ads on websites. That's nice. But Thomas Nast drew on the poem to have an image of what Santa looked like, and it was published in Harper's Weekly. All these illustrations were based off of Moore's description of him in the poem. And then even more recently, the Santa that we really know of today, that image came from a series of Coca-Cola advertisements. And that's how we see the Santa we see today. And let's do some little known facts here. Every year, there are 25 to 30 million real Christmas trees sold in the United States alone. There are about 15,000 of them. There are about 15,000 Christmas tree farms in the U.S. And the trees usually grow for between 4 and 15 years before they're sold as Christmas trees. In the Middle Ages, Christmas celebrations were rowdy, raucous, and a lot like what today's Mardi Gras parties were like. Could you imagine having Mardi Gras at Christmas time? Oh, that'd be awesome. Talk about bringing the Christmas cheer. Bring me the Christmas beer. When Christmas was canceled from 1659 to 1681, the celebration of Christmas was outlawed in Boston, and lawbreakers were fined 5 shillings, as I said before. And then it was declared a federal holiday in the United States on June 26th of 1870. The first eggnog made in the United States was consumed in Captain John Smith's 1607 Jamestown settlement. Go figure, you know. Bunch of people that sailed over here on a ship made a drink from rum for Christmas time. Go figure. Poinsettia plants, or poinsettia as some would call them, and they're actually named after Joel R. Poinsett, an American minister to Mexico who brought the red and green plant back to America in 1828. Did you know that the Salvation Army has been sending people dressed as Santa to collect donations in the streets since the 1890s? And Rudolph, the most famous reindeer of all, was the product of Robert L. May's imagination in 1939. The copywriter wrote a poem about the reindeer to help lure customers into the Montgomery Ward department store. A lot of the traditions that we know of Christmas now actually take place because of advertising, because the corporations actually found a way to profit off Christmas with the gift giving part, and they put out a flurry of ads every year around, leading up to Christmas time about, get your loved one this, get your loved one that. And they, in order to stand out from the other ads, they had to create stuff like poems like Rudolph and stuff like that, so that people actually got a chance to see the ad. And that eventually just kind of morphed into Christmas traditions. Hank, you are in the way, buddy. And construction workers were the ones to start the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree tradition. So if it wasn't for construction workers, you wouldn't have that. Let me see if I can find a Christmas tag questions. Now, I'm just doing this on the fly, y'all. I didn't have a plan for my video at all. The Christmas tags, here we go. Number one is what is my favorite Christmas movie? My favorite Christmas movie. Okay, y'all. I've said this before on the channel, so a lot of y'all know this. I love the Hallmark Christmas movies. Unfortunately, I don't have the Hallmark channel anymore, but I do have a torrent downloading app on my computer, and I have plenty of storage space on my computer for downloaded files. So I have actually found a lot of my favorite Hallmark Christmas movies on download sites, and I've already downloaded them to my phone or to my TV, so I can watch them wherever my computer, or I can watch them whenever I want to. But I think my favorite Christmas movie is always going to be A Christmas Story. Little Ralphie will always be my favorite Christmas story. And the new one that just came out like last year, I think it was it last year, year before last? That is an absolutely adorable movie. It's Ralphie all grown up and having to go back home at Christmas time. And I loved it. It was a bit of a tearjerker, but it was a really, really good movie. Because he wanted to have, because his dad was the, you know, the quintessential Christmas decorator and always had a big deal for Christmas, and he wanted to have a big Christmas thing for his dad, I think it was, if I remember correctly. It's very well worth seeing. I would definitely go see it. Get a chance to watch it, definitely. And very few of you will remember that back in the 70s, and probably I think around the 80s as well, it was shown, there was actually a Star Wars Christmas special. And I have that downloaded so that I can watch it. And I think it's also available on YouTube. There's actually places you can go to YouTube and find it. But it's the Star Wars Holiday Special. And it's got, you get to see Chewbacca's family. And, oh, it's kind of cute. In the Star Wars universe, it's kind of one of the laughingstock parts of the Star Wars universe. But it's still well worth watching. Do I open my presents on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning? You know what? I've gotten older. Presents aren't a thing that much anymore. I might get a few. We always waited till Christmas morning when I was a kid. We always had a ton of Christmas presents under the tree. And I was an only child, so all those presents under that tree were all mine. And I was a spoiled child. I will admit I was a spoiled child. I didn't get a whole, during the year I did get things that I wanted, but all of the big things that I wanted was always saved for Christmas. So when I woke up on Christmas morning, the tree was just full of presents underneath of it for me. And it was all the things that I had been talking about all year that I wanted. So yeah, I was a spoiled child. I ain't gonna lie. Do I have a favorite Christmas memory? Man, there's so many. I think it would had to have been when I was in elementary school. I know that. I was in elementary school, and it was Evel Knievel was a big deal that year, and they had put out this little Evel Knievel stunt cycle that it sat on like a base that had like a handle on top of it, and there was a little ramp leading down off of it, and you snapped the motorcycle with the Evel Knievel figure on it into the top, and had like a little gear thing there, and so you had a big crank on the side of the top of this thing. And you snap the motorcycle into the top, and you crank that crank really, really, really fast. And once it got going really fast, it would automatically release the bike. Once the RPMs got up to a certain height, it would release the bike out of the thing, and the bike would go rocketing down the driveway or across the yard, and you could build little ramps, and Evel Knievel would do jumps and stunts and stuff. And that was like the toy everybody wanted that year. Like, that was the big Christmas toy for that year. Like, one year was Cabbage Patch Dolls and all that kind of stuff. That one there was the Evel Knievel stunt cycle, and I wanted one so bad. And I didn't think I was going to get it, and it was the last present I opened on Christmas Day. And I immediately took it out in the front yard and broke it. I broke the handlebars on it the first time I used it. Which I guess I understand is probably was a normal thing at that time. I was brokenhearted, man. My brand new toy got broke the first day I had it. But it also taught me a quick lesson in the fact that you can't always do with it what you see on TV, because they always have the option when filming that commercial of getting another one and filming the rest of the commercial with another one. So when you see that bike flying through the air doing the stunt cycle thing, yeah, you better know it was probably broken. Hold on a second here. And Hank, you are no, do not step in the sticky stuff, buddy. The next one is favorite festive food. You know what? I love all Christmas food. I love all Christmas food. A lot of things everybody, I think probably like pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie, lots of whipped cream on top. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite Christmas festive food. My favorite Christmas gift, I've got two of them. One was that stunt cycle, and another one was my first iPod. I actually cried when she gave it to me. It was a girlfriend I was dating back in 2007, 2008. And she got me my very first iPod, and I actually kind of had a tear that morning when I opened that one, because nobody had ever really, as an adult, given me something like that for Christmas, you know? And it really meant a lot to me. I still have that iPod to this day. It's right here on this desk over here beside me somewhere. It still works. It's still got music on it from like 2008. The same music I put on it back then. Yep. I even had to go buy a new charger cable because it had that long, like 31 pin iPod charger. And I ended up having to go on Amazon and find one to buy it because the charger cable I had for it just didn't work anymore or something. I didn't even know you could still get chargers for it. But now they sell them in Dollar General. They sell those same charger cables in Dollar General. I saw one the other day in there. And I was like, it was the only ones they had. They didn't have any USB. They didn't have any lightning cables. All they had was those long, old 31 pin charger connectors. My favorite Christmas scent. Actually, you know what? I have that favorite Christmas scent in my wax warmer right now. It is called apple butter cookies. I bought it at Walmart. It's one of the great value scents, I think, or the sensation scents. It's called it's called apple butter cookies. And it is so good. My whole house smells so nice right now. I was going to show it to you, but I think I just used the last pieces of it this morning. And I think I threw the little empty container away. But yeah, the scent of baking things at Christmas time is my favorite. Christmas Eve traditions. Now, when I was a kid, we were always allowed to get one gift. we were allowed to get one gift before we went to bed. And it was like literally right before we went to bed. So you ended up getting this one gift. You could choose whichever one under the tree you wanted to open, except for the big one, you know, that your parents would tell you, no, don't open that one. You're saving that one for Christmas. But you could choose any other gift you wanted to from under the tree. And you got to open it, but it was literally right before bed. And so you got this gift, and you got it, and you were so excited about it, but you weren't allowed to play with it because you had to go to bed. Yeah. And we also had a Christmas Eve, usually at church. We would have a church dinner on Christmas Eve, and my uncle would play Santa Claus. My mom worked at a 5 and dime store, McCrory's Corporation, and she was a manager at the store, and she would end up bringing home, like, she needed so many boy gifts, so many girl gifts, or estimated that many. And so all the boys got the same toy and all the girls got the same toy, basically, in the church. And it was a big church dinner, and my uncle would dress up as Santa Claus, and he would come and visit. And usually my cousins, his two daughters, and myself were always kind of voluntold to recite "Twas the Night Before Christmas." And then right at the end of it, my uncle would come busting in the door dressed as Santa, and all the kids would go nuts. And he would hand out a gift to each child, and everybody would open it up, and it was just kind of a lot of fun. And that was always our Christmas Eve that we did in the earlier part of the evening, before everybody went home and did their own Christmas Eve thing at home. What tops my tree? Right now, I don't even have a tree. But we always had a star on top of our tree when I was growing up. As a kid, what was the one crazy, wild, extravagant gift you always asked for but never received? You know what? I can't think of anything. I pretty much got what I wanted within reason. I mean, they wouldn't buy me, like, you know, like a house or anything like that, but pretty much every year for Christmas I got pretty much what I wanted. Like, a lot of times it was the newest tech of the day is what my parents got me. We had a video game system named the Odyssey 2 by Magnavox. Some of you might know what that is, but it was kind of around at the same time as the Atari, and it had a lot of games that were kind of like rip-offs of Atari games. As a matter of fact, Atari kind of sued Magnavox over the Odyssey because some of the games are so similar. But it had a keyboard built in, it had a voice box that you could put on the top of it, and some of the games actually were like voice enabled, and it gave you like this really creepy robot voice. Like a really creepy digital robot voice that it talked in. But it was kind of cutting edge for its time, you know. I had that, and then the next year I got a ColecoVision for Christmas. One year I got the VIC-20. Sure, y'all know what a VIC-20, Commodore VIC-20 was. I got one of those. It was actually it was a computer that hooked to the back of your TV. It was just a keyboard, big, fat, thick keyboard with a slot for cartridges on one side, and it usually had a tape deck that came with it, and you saved all your programs because you had to actually write out the programs in BASIC in order to play games on it, stuff like that. There were some cartridges made that were pre-made games, like Oregon Trail, for one. It was the precursor to the Commodore, Commodore 64. It was the VIC-20, and they also had the Texas Instruments TI-99A and the Tandy Color Computer 2, which I had the Tandy one as well. And then I ended up getting, I got the ColecoVision after that. And then I got an NES when it came out, the year that it came out. That was the big gift that year. I remember my mom told me she had to stand in line to get that gift. So yeah, I pretty much always got what I wanted, or what I didn't know I wanted, but I really did want, you know. um, what's the best part of Christmas for me? Um, the best part of Christmas has become now for me doing these premieres. I love doing these premieres every year. I love seeing everybody in the chats and hanging out with everyone and just enjoying our time together. And it's a time that I actually get to meet and speak to some of the newer people that are in the community that I've never met before, and I get to see their channels for the first time, some of them, and I get introduced to new content, new things, and so it's really a nice experience. That, and right now I am alone at Christmas time. You know, I'm here at the house, just me and the cats. So I'm one of those people that the premieres are made for. And it doesn't bother me. I'm not sad that I'm alone at Christmas. I'm really not. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have somebody here to spend time with. But that'll happen. It'll come. I'm not rushing it. And so yeah, that is the best part of Christmas for me now, is getting to sit here on YouTube for 3 days with everybody else while the playlist just takes me from one video to the next. And I get to see everybody and say hi and talk, and we have a good time, and I get to meet new people get to meet me. We all help each other's channels out with doing this. I'm subscribed to people now that I never would have been subscribed to before last year. Are you celebrating Christmas? What are you doing for Christmas? What's the best part of the holiday for you? Let me know what you think. Okay, that was... Never mind. Yes, I'm celebrating Christmas being on here. I'm sure there's other Christmas tag questions. Am I on the naughty or nice list? Both. It really kind of depends on who you ask on that one. That can go either way. Where do you usually spend your holidays at Christmas? Right here at the house. My favorite Christmas song. Okay, my favorite Christmas song is actually not the song, it's a whole album. It's Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Christmas Eve and Other Stories. I actually want to go see them perform that one live. One year for Christmas. That's one thing I want to go do. It's one of my Christmas wishes. Because that is an amazing, amazing storyline for that album. Because that album, the whole album is a rock opera. It starts off telling a story, and it sees the story through to its completion, brings it all back around full circle in the end. And that's what all of Trans-Siberian Orchestra stuff is. It's all... The concert isn't just a concert of them playing these songs. It's actually a narrator, and they've got a story that goes with the whole thing, and the songs are parts of the story. So that's not my favorite Christmas. That's my favorite Christmas music. What was your worst Christmas present? I don't know if I can say it on a family-friendly channel or not. My ex-brother-in-law got me a male enhancement pump for Christmas one year. That's the worst Christmas gift I've ever gotten. Fake or real Christmas tree? We always had a fake one every year. My cousins, my aunt and uncle always got a real one every year. My mom didn't want to be bothered with it because it was just her and I. We didn't have a man of the house other than me, and I was a kid. So she didn't want to have to deal with, you know, the whole thing. And that's what all of Trans-Siberian Orchestra stuff is. It's all the concerts having to take it down and all of that. So we always had a fake Christmas tree. In fact, we used the same fake Christmas tree from the time I was a little kid until I graduated high school. And my mom still had it even after then, after I moved out and joined the Navy and all. She still had that same old Christmas tree that we'd used since she had it before I was born. So that old Christmas tree served its purpose, I'm telling you. And I hope it got retired to the place that, you know, old artificial trees retire to. And it's living a happy life there now. Oh, this is nice. These, by the way, y'all, these drills are lining up perfectly. They're gorgeous. I haven't found a single trash drill yet. Y'all really do need to go check the Mermaid Cavern out. I hope that Lay Aloha is in some of these premieres and gets to see, maybe even hear what I'm saying about this, because this is an awesome painting. I love their company. I love their artwork. I think her and her husband are very talented artists, and I really think that this company is going to go a long, long way. The quality of this painting is a very super close second place to Diamond Art Club. I mean, the quality is almost identical. And if y'all haven't checked it out, definitely go check out my unboxing of this that I did. I uploaded it on Thursday, which is the day I'm recording this. Thursday or Friday the 22nd. I unboxed it on Friday. My video went live for that on Friday the 22nd. So if you want to go check that out, that'd be awesome. Wait until after the premieres are over. You know, kind of open my channel up in a new tab and put it in your watch later list. But then again, maybe don't do that, because I've got stuff in my watch later list that I put in my watch later list last Christmas and I still haven't watched it yet. So later has never gotten here for those videos. I've got stuff in my watch later list from like 5 years ago, okay? It's probably not even relevant anymore, but they're still in my watch later list. How many of y'all do that too? How many of y'all have an extensive watch later list on YouTube that you just never will get around to watching? It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like buying diamond paintings. It's like you keep buying more diamond paintings because you really, really like them when you see them and you want to get them before, you know, they sell out and they're not available anymore or whatever. And now you've got a ton of diamond paintings sitting in your closet that you're probably never ever going to get to and finish in your lifetime. I've got some in my closet that I don't think I would ever even do, but I can't I mean, maybe I could de-stash them to somebody, but they're just not my cup of tea. They were at the moment, or they were purchased for somebody else and I never got to give it to them, and that person is no longer in my life or whatever. And so now I've got these paintings that I know I will never personally do. They're from AliExpress. Some of them were bought during the Drillmageddon period, so they're probably not going to even have decent drills, and it's going to suck. But they're still hanging in my closet, taking up space. One of these days I might think about destashing it. Do you prefer the giving or receiving gifts at Christmas? You know what? Who in the world is going to say they don't like receiving gifts? Nobody. Everybody likes getting things. I like giving. I like giving gifts. And I think everybody should like giving gifts. we just recently had a white elephant gag gift exchange at work. We had a Christmas brunch in the morning at work, and everybody brought a gag gift, just a generic gag gift. Didn't have to be, for any specific person, because you never knew who was going to get it, because everybody had draw a number, and that was the gift they got. And so this year I didn't have any idea what I was going to get somebody for a gag gift. So I went to Spencer's the night before, and I bought a pack of microwave spicy pickle popcorn and a little tray of gummy candy, but it was all gummy candy that looked like sushi. And I thought, man, what am I going to do to really top this off to make it funny as a gag gift? So I went to Walmart, hooked my phone up to Walmart. I went to CVS, and I hooked my phone up to their little thing that they have there, and I found one of my favorite selfies of myself, and I printed it out on 8x10 glossy, and I autographed it and put it in the box with the other stuff and wrapped it up. So the person that got my gift got an autographed 8x10 of me. It was a hit. Everybody loved it. They thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. I'm like, I couldn't think of anything. I don't know. I mean, I'm not good at getting gag gifts. I mean, if it was naughty gag gifts, I could come up with a million of them. But it had to be appropriate and clean and funny. And that was the best I could think of. Was, who wouldn't want an autographed picture of me? Here's one of my pictures from my hiking trips. In fact, it was taken on my 50th birthday in the Smokies, the morning that I set out for my Christmas hiking, or my birthday hiking trip. It's taken at a Newfound Gap in the Smokies. I took a selfie with a nice view behind me. So yeah, it was kind of funny. The guy who got it got a good kick out of it. He said he's actually going to hang it up at home. Christmas shopping online or on the street. You know what? I miss going to the malls at Christmas time. Back when malls were actually a big thing, and that's where everybody went on Christmas night. I loved going to the mall. The same person that got me the iPod for Christmas, her mom and I would go on Christmas Eve. It became our Christmas Eve tradition. Her mom and I would go to Dover, Delaware, to the Dover Mall, and we would shop for Cindy for Christmas. And it gave her mom and I a chance to stop and get some coffee and to hang out, and it was kind of cool. And I miss doing that. Shopping online just ain't the same thing. Do I go to church at Christmas? No, because I don't really even go to church during the year. I am born again Christian, but I'm a non-attending born again Christian, because I don't believe that you have to go sit in a building with a bunch of other people judging you on how you dress and carry yourself at every moment, and judging your level of devoutness based upon what you wear and how you act. So I prefer to worship God my own way and pray to Him my own way, and I don't need to sit in a building to do so. Have you ever had a white Christmas? Yes. I lived in North Dakota 4 years, enough said. One of the worst snowstorms I've ever been in was on Christmas in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Do I do anything for charity over the Christmas period? I wish my daughter charity a Merry Christmas. Does that count? Yeah, I try to if I have the money, but most of the time I just don't have the money to give anything, and I'm working constantly, it feels like, so I don't really have time to give away. But you know what? This video is actually a good charitable thing to do at Christmas time, because it gives people that don't have anybody else to spend Christmas with, or who might be down and out on Christmas time, it gives them a place to come and be with other people. So this is my charitable gift for Christmas time. I'm going to skip that one because y'all may have children watching, and it deals with Santa Claus and about what age, you know. What makes Christmas magic for you? I'm going to end with that one. And this is going to sound bad, but Christmas doesn't feel magical anymore. It just doesn't have that magic it held once when I was a child. You know, that feeling I had helping my mom decorate the house for Christmas. She always pulled out all the Christmas boxes and the Christmas tree, and we put the tree up, and we had Christmas music playing on the big hi-fi console stereo system she had. The big record player that you could stack the records on top of each other, and it always played the next record and the next record. And the Christmas tree always went in that old corner, and we had specific places where we put each decoration in the house. And yeah, it was, that's when Christmas felt magical, and it just doesn't have that same feeling today. A lot of times it feels like it's just another day off of work, and maybe I get an extra day on top of that. You know, I don't know. Maybe one day that'll come back, I don't know, but it just doesn't have that same magic it used to. And I'm going to end with that one, y'all. I'm at 56 minutes on this video. Y'all going to need time to go grab yourself a little snack, a little something to drink, maybe another Christmas beer for some Christmas cheer. And then you got to maybe make a little potty break. So I'm going to sign this one off now. I hope you have all had a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope you got a lot of the things you wanted for Christmas. I hope you gave a lot of people things they wanted for Christmas. And best of all, I hope you got to actually spend it with some family and friends. I'm glad to have all of you here with me today. And I'm glad to have this place for me to come to and spend Christmas with all of y'all. So, we got a Happy New Year coming up, 2024. It's going to be a new year. And I can't wait, because I think we're going to start the year off big with the Alabama Crimson Tide National Championship, y'all. So, on that note, rock on, y'all, roll tide, and Merry Christmas.